Good morning, Pilipinas. Welcome to the Teacher's Voice. This show aims to give teachers the opportunity to talk on air about their unforgettable journeys and thrilling adventures, as well as share their splendid wisdom to inspire and give hope to our listeners and viewers. This show is aired by the Philippine Las Vegas radio station from the heart of Las Vegas every Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Sunday in the Philippines at 9 o'clock in the morning. This is one of your co-hosts, Sir Marvin, welcoming you from New York City. And my two other co-hosts, who are also from New York City, Ma'am Judilyn Franco and Ma'am Pacita Ros. They are not with us tonight, but we are sure that their hearts and minds are with us all. To begin our show, we are going to ask the Lord for wisdom and guidance. Let's pray. Father in heaven, with gladness and thanksgiving in our hearts, we thank you for being so good to us and so faithful to us. You have been faithful to all teachers who you have called into the profession, and you have sustained through the years to continue to bring the beacon of and then the light outside the classroom. We ask that your presence be with us in this circle, and even, Father God, in the lives of every teacher who are giving their lives for the passion of teaching. We thank you that we have this opportunity to highlight teachers' work and the inspiration that we can gather from each of the lives of our teachers can help build up the community of teachers. We worship you. We thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
So good morning and good evening.
Good morning.
Wherever we are in the four corners of the world. Welcome to the Teacher's Voice. I am going to introduce right now our esteemed guest for tonight. Our guest tonight completed his Bachelor of Science in Biology degree from the University of San Agustin in Iloilo City, and Master of Arts in Education and Doctor of Philosophy in Education, majoring in Educational Management. His teaching journey started when he taught biology at the newly created Leon National High School in Iloilo. After 6 years of serving as a classroom teacher, he was promoted as head teacher of the science department, where he served for 10 years. He then was designated as officer in charge of the extension school, where he was promoted to school principal 1 and served there for 5 years. Presently, he is a school principal 2 of Leon National High School in the province of Iloilo. A child rights advocate and a member of the indigenous people of Iloilo, our guest has advocated for the rights of every learner, including those who have learning disabilities, and of course, the rights to education of children who belong to the indigenous people of the province. Ang aming mga mahal na guro, we would like to welcome Dr. Jose Rolando Rafael Cabanig. Welcome to the show, sir.
Okay. Hello. Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Magandang gabi or maayong gabi sa inyo lahat dyan. And most especially to you, Sir Marvs, to your co-host, we have Ma'am Judy, Ma'am Pacita, and to your listeners of this program, that Teacher Voice. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. It's a great joy and pleasure for us to have you here with us, sir. Okay, so let's begin. I am really, really very interested because I know that you are a native of one of the most popular municipalities of the province of Iloilo. Di ba? Before I ask you about your educational and teaching background, can you please share with us what makes the municipality of Leon unique compared to the rest of the municipalities of the province?
What makes the Leon municipality of Leon unique is Leon, in fact, is one of the 42 municipalities or towns in the Iloilo province, which is located in Panay Island in the Western Visayas. What is, I could say, unique because Leon is one of the mountainous towns, and then it is because of its high elevation. It is considered the summer capital of Iloilo, and it is also branded as the fruit and flower basket of province of Iloilo.
Wow, very nice. So it's like the little Baguio, right?
Yes, we have
Yes.
Bukari, which is considered a little Baguio and of Iloilo.
So you don't need to go to Baguio, right? You can enjoy
Yes,
the Baguio environment right there in Iloilo.
yes. Feel free to come to Bukari and Leon if you have time.
Yes, that was an awesome place. So, sir, you had your undergraduate course in biology, right? But not in education. So,
Yes.
how did you find your pathway to teaching or to being a teacher?
It's a very long story, Mr. Mabs, but I will make it short. I took a biology because I wanted to be a science researcher. But
Mhm.
when I finished my bachelor's degree, and asked my father if I could pursue my master's in science, then he suggested me that it is practical for me to have the MA in education and to teach, because at that time, teaching is said to be the in demand,
Mhm.
course at that time. So being obedient child, and
Of
because
course,
of
of
the
course.
brighter employment sooner in after graduation, so I decided to pursue in education, where from that time till now I still love teaching, though I am now a principal.
Wow, very nice. So it's a slow climb, right? From being a teacher to
Yeah,
a head teacher, and then now
yes.
a principal. Oh, very awesome. So how about, sir, if you share with us why you stayed in teaching after for so many years, much more teaching in the rural area in Leon, Iloilo.
Oh. Why in the rural area? In fact, when you at the time I started teaching in somewhere in 1997. Perhaps no, this is a common notion that learners in the rural areas are said to be, they are, most of them are poor,
Mhm.
and because the government facilities are said to be not complete in the particular area, we can say that this is not proper. Perhaps Leon is one of the exception, no. But
Mhm.
in general, if you are studying, if the learner is studying in the public school, it seems that they are somewhat, I could quote that they will be receiving not quality, or could I say not quality education, which that inspired me so much, because I came from a poor family
Mhm.
living in the rural area, and if uh, if I will not volunteer to teach in this in our locality, so who else? So
Yes.
I want to be a part of this noble profession, as they say, to help mold the minds and the hearts of these young people, which said to be found in the rural areas.
But there's also like something different in among the students and even in the environment, right? It's just like more closer to home, closer to the heart, especially if you come from the same place, right?
Yes, yes.
All right, very nice, sir. Now, academically, uh, I know you are so fulfilled that you have achieved already the highest degree available for a teacher, and that is your Doctor of Philosophy degree in education. What was your motivation for pursuing a graduate school degree?
Um, as I mentioned a while ago, I am a biology graduate and I don't have background in teaching.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I was only convinced by my father to teach. That is why for me to prepare myself to teach well and to
Mhm,
equip with the knowledge and skills, as they say, in teaching. So I decided to enroll in the Masters of Arts in Education, which I like because
mhm,
it prepared me more to teach this,
mhm,
I could say, learners who are said to be in need of what we call more principles, more concepts,
mhm,
more experiences that they need. So I need to enroll
mhm,
further in doctoral degree because I want to give more to my learners,
mhm, mhm.
especially that I am not an education graduate. It's only this time that I could say that I could teach better this time after graduating my PhD.
Yeah, it's more of a professional advancement, and because in our hearts we wanted to prepare ourselves, because we don't want to give ourselves to the profession when we are not, shall we say, we are not equipped. So we can better equip our students when we are best equipped ourselves. Right. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you
right.
very much. Thank you very much, sir. You are at the moment, you are presently the school principal too of Leon National High School. Can you please share with us the demographics of your school, the environment, number of students, the kind of families that we have? Okay. Can you please share with us, sir?
In fact, Sir Marbs, I started here at Leon National High School somewhere in 1987, and I stayed here for about 13 years. Then I transferred to the school, to our extension school, where we converted later on to another high school. Then I just returned back just 2019,
Mm-hmm.
being the principal too. Leon National High School is considered the mother school of our municipality because this is
Mm-hmm.
the biggest school in the town, and this is located in the poblacion. And
Mm-hmm.
so far, we have the biggest population in the municipality with a total of 2,735 learners. It is
Mm-hmm.
composed of the junior high, we have 1,922, and senior high, we have 800 plus. And for the junior high school teachers, we have 72. Senior
Wow.
high school teachers, we have 32. A total of 104 teaching force and 9 staff.
Mm-hmm.
And what is sad to hear, though that we are having our classes here, we are still occupying the 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 building, the old buildings, which happened
Mm-hmm.
to be donated to us. We're processing the papers. And hopefully, if we could have this lot transferred, we could have our own buildings and classrooms and facilities.
Oh, right. Yeah. We're getting there
Yes.
eventually. Eventually, yeah. Okay, so yeah. So most of your students are from the different
From the barangays
barangays of Leon. All
of
right.
Leon.
So how many high schools um in in a- in the in the municipality so far?
So far for the public high school, we have 7 high school. We have
Oh,
2 integrated high schools,
mm-hmm.
and we have the 3 private schools.
Okay. Yeah, because I know one of the private schools is where my cousins finished. This is a St. Catherine, which is very popular
Yes, yes.
municipality. But
Oh,
but there are other private schools aside from St. Catherine, right?
yes, we have
Oh,
Spring Valley and we have Inaccord.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So a lot of memories actually come back to my mind when you speak of Leon, because in 2019 we were able to visit Bukhari, and
Yes.
and also um, I I I forgot about the place where we had hiked during my my graduate school ecology class, but I remember the falls, the Imoy Falls. Is it
Aday
still
Moy,
in
yes,
Bukaro?
Moy.
Is it in Bukhari as well?
That is in Kamandag.
Oh, in Kamandag. Oh, it's just that the different place. Very nice. So at least with such areas in and treasures in Leon that are actually a little hidden. But I have observed now tourism has actually the way tourism has evolved. Every municipality is actually like selling their own places, and that's why um, the the tourist spots now in Bukhari is the spot has become a tourist attraction for both to locals and other people from other provinces as well, right?
Yes,
So it's
yes,
nice to
that's
know
right.
about that. Now, let's go back to my previous question about the demographics of our school. With such demographics, what are the most pressing issues, and what are the challenges that you have faced so far as the principal of the school?
Uh, as the principal of this school, my first priority or to consider is of course the learning or the studying of
Mm,
the learners. We know that in public school we are said to be somewhat congested,
mhm, mhm,
and it be because that uh, we have a lot of enrollment being the mother school because
mhm,
of our we have several program offerings. And aside from that, most of our learners came from the barangay wherein the parents are said to be farmers.
mhm,
And
mhm,
the school really need to help in the learning of this I could say children of from different barangays.
mhm.
So what we did to help them is to we provided free test papers because the practice in the public school is they have to to pay the amount for the photocopying or printing of the test papers. So what I
Ah,
did is even before Takuyon, that is my advocacy. One way to help the learners in their study is to give these test papers
ah,
free so that they will be relaxed at the time that they will be taking the
taking
test.
the exam.
And another thing is, you know that at this time, this generation is somewhat different. So we have concerns on their behavior.
Mhm,
So we have to conduct symposiums. Sometimes you need to spend time talking with them.
mhm.
Sometimes we need to refer to the DSWD, to
Ah,
other organizations on how to really help them. And
mhm,
as to the facilities, as mentioned a while ago, we are working for the transfer of the school site, and hopefully, before I will retire, perhaps 6 years from now, we will able to provide them with somewhat suitable learning environment for them.
Very nice. The I have not I have not experienced teaching students in the rural areas, but I have seen a lot of videos in YouTube and even videos shared in Facebook that a lot of the students from these areas, they would, especially during, they will appreciate their teachers in ways by which they, whatever resources that they have available. And so we can find like students bringing native chicken, and then give native chicken to their teacher, or like eggs, just to appreciate them. And I guess this is an environment where gratefulness is based on whatever they have available. So whatever they have is coming from their hearts that they give the teacher. And I feel that if ever I would have the same experience later, I would really be touched, and I would appreciate it very much from my students. So that's why I feel that it's also a wonderful place to teach. Thank you, sir. So when you started teaching in the rural municipal public high school as a biology teacher, were there moments when you felt frustrated about the financial situation of the classroom, and maybe lack of textbook infrastructure, and were there moments that you felt frustrated about them? So if you did, or if you still do, how did you manage to fill in the gaps in the needs of your students and the need of the school in general?
Feel frustrated. Never been.
Mm-hmm.
Because though I am not an education graduate, Sir Marbs, but I still remember the saying that in the hands of the creative teacher,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he or she can teach the lesson well
Mm-hmm.
and make the learners learn even under the mango tree.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That is my motto.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you are going to count the things that are available or things needed in order to teach the learners, you have on the list a lot of lacking things compared to what you have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a test of commitment,
Mm-hmm.
your competence to teach
Mm-hmm.
well, and your creativity. So you mentioned a while ago that we have a lack of textbooks and other instructional materials compared to the private school. So what I did in the public school, wherein only the teacher has at the time has the
Mm-hmm.
teacher manual and very
Okay.
few copies of the textbook. What I did
Uh-huh.
is we have it. I have it handwritten.
Mm-hmm.
I summarize the text, the topic, then have it summarized, then
Mm-hmm.
have it placed in the photocopier. If there are some learners who have money, they can have it photocopy per grading, including the activity, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever money they have, they can just photocopy the needed copies for that day.
Mm-hmm.
And you have really to do something so
Mm-hmm.
that your learners are able to do it. So what I did is to make this learning what we call is personal to them is I always go back to what they have experienced so that they could vividly see or they have the experience of what these things like rather
Mm-hmm.
than to explain it inside the classroom with no with no instructional materials to use. So teaching using the experience and sometimes with the use of handwritten notes to be given to them. Sometimes to those students who can just who come in my class and don't have the photocopy, you're ability to just give it to them.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. So that is like fulfilling whatever the needs of our students are. And I,
Yes,
and
yes,
I and
yes,
I
sir.
believe that's one of the very reasons why they consider teaching as a very noble profession, because of the not only the passion that we give to our profession, but the sacrifice, the sacrifice that we are
Yeah.
willing to
In a way,
give.
it's not really sacrifice. It's up for you to feel how it is. But in my mind is more of a concern to them and
Mhm,
concern to them that they could continue their education so that later on they will when they graduate they could look for the job and could help
mhm.
the family. As simple as that.
Yes, yes, I agree indeed. All right. So, sir, aside from teaching, what else do you do in order to support the educational development of the students in your classroom or in your school?
Of course, because as I mentioned a while ago, the notion that in the public school, learners sometimes cannot participate in the contest because they lack
Mm,
preparation or they lack review materials for that.
mhm,
So what I did is I really encourage some bright learners to
mhm,
participate in the contest. To coordinate, being the department head of the science department, I really have to talk with the science teacher that we need to really push
mhm,
our learners to be something. No?
mhm.
It is not enough that they are just learning inside the classroom in the public school, but they have also to show to the world, to the
Yes,
division
yes.
office, to the district office that
Mhm,
they could be something.
mhm.
They able to learn the higher concepts, or they can do something also that I could say my comparison always at that time is the private school, to be at
Uh,
par with the private school,
uh,
but this time we are not said to be equal. No, you cannot really now distinguish the graduate from the public and the private school. They're all well, really. Our
mm,
learners now are really doing their best.
mhm. Yeah, then and I like the way we start, like in your case, where you start with your students and then just encourage them to become not comparable to other students, but they become better versions of themselves. So after
Yes.
2 year, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years from high school, they're not the same person. They have developed into somebody better than they are, because the best way to compare yourself is to compare yourself with your previous, or your own previous capacity. So you're just
Ye-
simply competing against yourself and not other people.
Yes, yes, sir, Mabs. I've noticed that there are a lot of bright learners in the public
Mhm,
school.
mhm,
Some of them before they are not participating maybe because of their financial concerns.
mhm.
The family are said to be they don't like to be bothered with a lot of preparations. But
Uh-huh.
this time we have a lot of bright learners.
Mhm. And I guess it's a challenge as well, um, to the whole teaching staff, that they too can feel the joy when they train students, and when they discover the potential of students. And not only that, we feel happy about it, we feel proud about what the students can achieve.
Yes.
All right, so thank you very much for sharing that you included in your bio note that you also served as an officer of one of the science teachers organizations for
Yes, yes.
5 years at the
Yes,
division level, right? And
yes.
I'm wondering, what are the thrusts, what are the programs of this teachers organization, and how did it support, or how does it support the teachers' causes and plans and aspirations as well?
This organization is called this KAA, a division of Iloilo Science Club Advisors Association,
Mhm.
and I joined that. In fact, that is two just 2 years after it was created that I joined the organization,
Mhm.
and that organization is serve as our organization that will what we call that organize organize the contest in the division level.
Uh-huh.
So in case that we need to have the training, so it is the organization that facilitate for the
Mhm.
conduct of the training, sometimes field trips, educational tour,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it is the venue wherein the science teacher could really talk and advocate our concerns with the
Mhm.
division office personnel.
Mhm. So in a way, it's like a teacher support, and
Exactly, yes.
like having a voice, and having like a solidarity and unity, and helping one another, which is a good way to help the teachers in the division. Okay, thank you very much, sir. It is very interesting to note that you had given so much of yourself to your school as the school principal. How was your experience as the principal of the extension school, um, your previous school, who under or under your leadership was you converted the extension school to now a national high school. How was your experience as the principal? In
When we created that extension school, I am after a year that the first OIC transferred to the SUC.
Mm,
Um, I replaced her and I stayed there for about 10 years. And
mm,
it's really difficult, or could I say very challenging because with less support from the LGU, you have to establish a school from nothing.
mm,
Granting that that is in the barangay, Takuyong Sur, that is barangay, and most of the parents are farmer,
mm,
so you cannot really ask the financial support from them. So what you will do is to really look for the
mm,
donations here, as you have to solicit there to one stakeholders to another until such time that we're able to have the school separated,
mm,
because before it need yeah, the school needs to be separated in order to receive its budget or MOE and
oh,
receive the teacher item.
mm,
So it's really very challenging to start a school because you need to have a teaching load. You have to teach sometimes math because no
mhm,
math teacher is being hired yet. Then you have to provide sometimes you have to provide personally what are said to be needed in the school.
mhm,
Um, um, though that with all those hardships, what is very important is we just communicate to the parents.
mhm,
Always establish a good relationship with the parents and talk to them that having the school could really help their families
mhm, mhm,
could I say progress to alleviate their status of living once their children able to graduate even high school at the time.
mhm, mhm.
I am very happy to note that before I was able to before I left, we have already 22 teachers there, to a
Mhm,
lot of buildings, somewhat complete facilities,
mhm,
uh,
mhm,
uh, which are said to be needed by the learners. And the learners are said to be well behaved because at the start we what we call it, we nurture them
mhm, mhm,
the culture of excellence and the value of education.
mhm. Yes, very nice, sir. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, the our contribution to the lives of our students, right, are very very significant. Whenever we see them graduate high school, right, even in our
Yes.
level, we see them that have been instrumental in having them graduate and finish high school. That's very good. And also in your bio note, you included that you were one of the regional awardees in
Yes.
implementing the thrust, the programs, the activities in the science area of the Department of Education. So I'm interested to know what were the programs that you have spearheaded and the significant contributions of the science department and of the school in general in the advancement of the science literacy program as well as the competencies among our students.
That happened when I was the department head at Leon National High School. We have this every year, every September, Sir Marvin, the National Science Club Month. And
Mm,
every September we had coastal or river cleanup.
mhm,
What we did is in the morning we have the symposium about how to take care. our
Mm.
environment. We hired speakers from the colleges to discuss more into to inspire our learners to be environmentally friendly. Then
Mm.
in the afternoon, what we did is we have the cleanup starting from the outside the school campus, then going to the whole poblacion, then end up in the river banks. And what is good is in every cleanup, we're able to the purpose is said to be we have two. One purpose is of course to have the cleanup.
Mhm.
So what we do is we segregate this waste into the one that could be recycled, and we have it delivered to the junk shops. And the proceed of that is used to buy what we have last time is the projector, overhead projector, to be used in the discussion, and for the
Oh.
printing of our notes to be
Mhm.
distributed to the learners. And another thing is it's sometimes I cannot believe that we're able to collect several truckloads of plastics
Oh.
along somewhat 1 kilometer river banks.
Mhm.
And the area is said to be is near the population that is our focus of cleanup. And
Mm.
sometimes we gathered up to 13 truckloads of this
Oh,
plastic,
ways. Wow.
and we have it delivered to the landfill areas.
Mhm.
Our intention is for the IGP to collect these materials that could be sold
Mhm.
for the source of fund to be used for the instruction in the school, at the same time for the cleanup. And we don't have the idea to participate really to win.
Mhm.
Our purpose is just as noble as that, and we are very happy that we were given that certificate for our considered little concern to the environment.
Oh, so very nice. And it's quite interesting to know that your program has extended into the cleanup of the riverbank, and that a lot of and truckloads of waste and a lot of waste through the through the years. Because I remember there were times when I would visit relatives in Leon, and I had a chance to bathe in the river, and it was it was so clean and so pristine. But I also have observed years back that the riverbank has been eaten so much that the rice fields used to be very wide going to
Mm,
the road, and now it has gone. It has been. I believe the area has been used, has been dug, and for other purposes, which I think may not necessarily be good for the environment. But it's it's so heartwarming to see that your students and your school were able to conduct that a river cleanup program, and I salute you for that. Being you during that time, you were only like a department head for science, right?
yes.
And then I'm so happy to see that you have provided the opportunity for your students and for your department to be working on that ecological cleanup. I take my hats off you, and I love to hear that story. Also, sir, I find it interesting, and as noted in your bio, that you are a member of um, of an
Thank you.
indigenous people in the province. May we know the culture, and may we know the livelihood of these indigenous people that you belong to. And I guess this is a wonderful time for the world to know as well about them. So how are these people coping, and how are these people integrating into the mainstream community at present?
Actually, Sir Marbs, we have two IPs or indigenous people groups here in Panay. We have the first one. We have the popular AITA or the
Mhm,
ATI, called it the
mhm,
ATI. Then another one is we have now the Panay
The
Bukidnon,
Panay
or we call that
Bukidnon.
Bukidnon,
Mhm.
or the shortcut of that is Buki. But
Ah,
the meaning of Buki is
Bukidnon.
ignorant. No, no, the
Oh,
ignorant.
yeah, yeah.
Um, we belong to this what we call that indigenous cultural community. We call that ICC. We don't have a tribe anymore, just like artists now. We
Mhm.
are somewhat civilized. We are grouped in purok or barangay. So we rather than say calling or having a tribe, so we just
Mhm.
call it ICC. So I belong to Panay Bukidnon or Bukidnon ICC. And
Mhm.
as to my appearance, I am now wearing the Bukidnon
Oh,
costume.
yes.
Uh, and um, and as to the structure, we are somewhat similar similar to the regular Ilonggos rather than to the Ati.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And of course, being living in the one of the barangays, so it's said to be in Maliao. I am the native of Maliao, which is one of the IP barangays. We should learn to socialize. We should
Mhm.
learn to coexist with other members in the community. We should learn to study, to
Mhm.
have the course, so that we could be employed later on. Um, there are some members of the IP in our community that they are perhaps this somewhat what we call conservative, that they don't send their children to school,
Mhm.
and they just satisfied with farming. But we need to, but the call of time is now is we need to educate, so
Mhm.
that even when we still continue farming, we need to have what we call scientific way of
Mhm.
farming,
Uh-huh.
or to have a
Exactly.
job later on.
Mhm. Yes, but without being being integrated into the mainstream does not necessarily mean you're going to lose your identity, but you can still keep your identity at the same time being part of the society, which
Yes,
is an
yes,
opera.
yes, yes, yes. One thing good is being the IP is people are expecting you to be a culture barrier.
Mhm, mhm,
So they still ask me what are our beliefs, which they consider sometimes, what are your superstitious belief, somewhat like that. Actually, we have a lot of belief system. We have this some culture. We have some tradition that we observe.
mhm,
And what is nice that to be considered an IP member is people are expecting you to be the bearer of the culture.
mhm, mhm,
So sometimes you need to tell them that this should be practiced, this should be done. Sometimes we you'll be subject to criticism by some,
mhm,
that is not already scientific, that is not good. So what we did is we don't forget that practice, but we don't practice it rather, but we don't forget it.
uh-huh.
That is part of what we are several 100 years ago, perhaps.
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm just very curious for that because isn't the practice of bukot or binukot a part of the Panay Bukidnon tradition, right?
Yes. In fact, if you have this, if you consider the Bukidnon ICC, it covers somewhat half of the municipalities, mountainous municipalities in Leon. And we have
Mm.
the Binokot is said to be popularly practiced in Lambunaw, in
Mhm.
Calino,
In
in
Haniway as well, or Kalinog?
Haniwa, yes.
Haniway, yes.
In that connecting mountainous ranges, barangays, so we
Mhm.
have that practice. We heard of that, but we never practiced that in Leon.
In Leon. Mm.
What we have something common with them is we have the sayaw, which is the sword dance. But they
Mhm.
have in Lambunao, in Kalinog, they have the Binanog dance, which in Leon and Tumungan we have the Sayaw.
Mhm. It's like, is it the form of dance?
And that is a dance. That's a sword
Mm.
dance.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. So for the benefit of our viewers, we Sir Cabanig and I were talking about the binokot, which is like a person practice that this is a person who is like kept inside the house in the Panay Bukidnon culture, and then this is particularly a girl, right?
Yes, it's a
Only the
girl.
girls are binokot, right? Not the
Yes,
boys.
yes, yes.
Yeah, so though they
But
keep
not
them inside the house for so many years. And do they treat this lady as a dowry later, or what's the purpose? I'm not so sure about that. I just heard about the binukot that you just like,
actually
yep.
the reason of having the binokot is to have somebody as a recorder of the history
Mm,
and the songs of the poems.
mm,
So what the parents of this binokot did, the dato or the leader or the
mm,
chieftain do to their daughters is they have it in bukot, no? Bukot is in a room so
mm,
that she will not be exposed to many people and to focus on transmitting the stories, the songs like
mm.
somewhat like that.
So that they will be the bearers of the oral cultures and
Yes,
songs and the literature of and the history as well of
yes,
the
yes,
of the the people. Very nice. And so we had a little talk on the culture and the history as well. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing with that. Now let's go back to
uh,
our
in
internet. Yes,
addition
go
to
ahead.
it, Sir Marvin,
Sure.
in addition to it, I've noticed that the people, the children, the young generation this time is they don't value somewhat the culture of the Panay
Uh-huh.
Bukidnon. So before, what we did is being a science teacher, we try to contextualize our lesson plans using our what we have seen in our environment.
Mhm, mhm,
We have that, but though I convince my teachers to write a lesson contextualized lesson plan on that,
mhm,
but I've noticed that at the time in somewhere in 1990s, we have these learners that are now they are particular of viewing the cell phones rather than to read inside the
uh-huh.
classroom,
Right.
listening to the culture that being said to be discussed. So my plan in this time is to bring this the discussion of
Mhm.
culture to the
Ah,
streets.
mhm,
So when I was given a chance to be the head of the our extension school, we joined in the cultural presentation
mhm, mhm.
in Leon. We have the Kaing Festival.
Mhm, I heard of that.
Yes, which it showcase our
Uh,
culture, the Panay Bukidnon. And just we have that the first time is we won first runner up.
mhm,
Saka won first runner up in the popular or well-known Ati-Ati or Dinagyang Festival in Iloilo
mhm,
City.
mhm, mhm.
And lately in 2019, our school also participated again for that and we able to win best in costume because
Mhm.
we really study what is said to be what it look like, what the
Uh-huh.
costume of this Bukidnon looks
Uh-huh.
in that before, no, as described
Mhm.
by the elders. So
Mm.
my advocacy now is to bring this the advocacy of teaching the culture to the young generation through street dancing and enjoying the
Mhm.
cultural
Ah,
presentation.
Oh, very good. Yeah, yeah. It's a good thing that the traditions are being passed down from generation to generation, and at least when we do that, we are keeping the authenticity of the culture, that it's not lost or it's not being diluted through the generations. And it's a very nice program because it's part of the municipality's culture and history as well. All right, thank you very much for sharing this, sir. As a school leader, what kind of leadership style do you embrace in leading your school, in leading your teachers, your staff, and your students?
I believe in the saying that no one has the monopoly of knowledge. More heads are better than one. So even when I was starting as a department head and as a principal, I still have the practice of participative form of management. Sometimes, though I have a clear idea of what to do, but I always present them in question. What do you want? How do you want it? Uh, Sometimes they might have different idea with that of mine, but sometimes we need to guide, to really convince the teachers, the learners, the parents, so that they will buy what could say they will buy your idea, because I
Oh,
believe that once they were informed,
mhm. Yeah, so it's like really, really very, very empowering, right? So for
then they will have the ownership.
mhm. Yeah, and for me, that gives the power to the teachers, and they feel that they are part of the decision making, and so they have the ownership of the program as well. So yeah, so the time has actually come that for us to wrap up with our program, and it has been a wonderful moment of sharing and with our guest, Dr. Jose Rolando Cabanig of Leon National High School, and we are glad to have him, and we are also glad to have all our listeners join us in this episode tonight. And good evening to all the teachers around the world, and good morning as well if you are in the Philippines. So one more time, our greetings from the Teacher Voice. Mabuhay ang lahat ng mga teachers.